In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most merciful, the most merciful. Let me ask you something that may touch your heart deeply. Why does your life feel so heavy right now? Why does it feel like every door is closed, every step is difficult, and every dua seems delayed? What if I told you this heaviness is not punishment, it is preparation? Yes. Allah is not breaking you, Allah is building you. And if you don't understand this now, you might miss the greatest transformation of your life. Don't let that happen. Allah tells us in the Quran, Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. Surah Al-Baqarah 286. This means your struggle is not random. It is measured. It is intentional. It is filled with divine wisdom. Every hardship you feel is carrying a hidden mercy you cannot yet see. You wake up feeling overwhelmed, and the first thought that crosses your mind is, why me? Why is everything so heavy? It feels like no matter how hard you try, the weight doesn't lift. The stress follows you throughout your day. The worries sit quietly in your Arabic alif, Arabic lam, Arabic ba. And even in moments of silence, your mind refuses to rest. But what if this feeling you're experiencing is not a sign that something is wrong with you, but rather a sign that something is wrong with you, but rather a sign that something very special is right about you? In Islam, we are taught a powerful truth that changes everything when we truly understand it. Allah does not test everyone the same way. The tests you are going through right now are not random, and they are not meaningless. They are carefully chosen, specifically designed for you by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. When Allah chooses to test someone, it is never to break them. It is always to raise them. The Prophet Arabic Sadar, Arabic Lam, Arabic Alif Maksur, Arabic Alif, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Yat, 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 Arabic Min, said that when Allah loves a people, He tests them. Just pause for a moment and let that sink in. The very struggles you are trying to escape might actually be signs of Allah's love for you, not His anger, not His neglect, His love, then just comfort. He wants your Arabic Alif, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Ba to grow, your Iman to strengthen, and your rank with Him to rise higher than you ever imagined. The problem is that we often measure love in the wrong way. We think that ease means Allah is pleased with us, and hardship means something is wrong. But the lies of the prophets tell a completely different story. The most beloved people to Allah faced the hardest tests. They were rejected, hurt, misunderstood, and placed in situations that seemed unbearable. Yet every single one of those moments was elevating them, bringing them closer to Allah, and preparing them for something far greater. Right now, your daily struggles, whether it's emotional pain, financial pressure, family issues, or inner battles, are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that Allah is working on you. He is shaping your character, strengthening your patience, and teaching you lessons that comfort could never teach. If life was always easy, you would never grow into the person you are meant to become. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking yourself a different question. What is Allah preparing me for? Because every hardship carries a hidden purpose. Maybe Allah is teaching you patience because you will need it in the future. Maybe He is teaching you reliance because you have been depending too much on people. Maybe He is softening your heart so you can return to Him in a way you never have before. Start your day with a new intention. When you wake up, remind yourself that whatever you face today is part of a bigger plan. Speak to Allah, even if your words are simple. Say, "Ya Allah, help me understand, help me stay strong, and help me grow through this." This small shift in mindset can change the way you experience your entire life. And never forget this: you are not being singled out to suffer. You are being selected to rise. Allah sees your strength even when you don't. He knows what you are capable of, and He is guiding you toward a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and closer to Him. So hold on, even when it feels heavy, especially when it feels heavy, because that weight you feel right now is not there to crush you. It is there to lift you to a place you could never reach without it. Sometimes the heaviest thing you carry is not what is happening around you, but what is happening within you. The quiet pressure in your chest, the sleepless nights, the tears you don't show to anyone, and the feeling that something inside you is constantly being refined through pain. In those moments, it is easy to assume that hardship is only hardship, that struggle only takes away from you. But in the sight of Allah, nothing that touches a believer is ever wasted, not even the smallest discomfort that passes through the heart. The Prophet, Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Alif Maksura, Arabic Alif, Arabic Lam, Arabica, 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 meant deeply, said that even a thorn that pricks a believer removes sins. Yet in the scale of Allah's mercy, it becomes a means of purification. So what then of the bigger pains, the longer struggles, the emotional burdens that stay with you for months or even years? They are not just events happening to you. They are processes through which Allah is cleansing you layer by layer from things you may not even realize are weighing your soul down. The problem many people face is that they only see hardship through the lens of discomfort. When something hurts, the immediate reaction is to resist it, to question it, or to wish it away. But in Islam, there is a deeper lens. Hardship for a believer is not only about what is taken from them, but also about what is being given to them in return. Sins are being erased. The heart is being softened. Pride is being broken. Dependence on creation is being redirected back to the Creator. These are invisible transformations, but they are more valuable than anything physical ease could provide. Daily life becomes lighter when you understand this meaning. The same situation that once made you feel hopeless begins to feel different. A delay no longer feels like rejection. A difficulty no longer feels like punishment. Even your own emotional pain begins to feel like a reminder that Allah is still actively working on your heart. Instead of pushing you away from Him, it becomes something that pulls you closer, even if slowly, even if imperfectly. When you recognize that hardship is purification, your response starts to change. You begin to speak to Allah more honestly, not only in moments of ease, but especially in moments of distress. You stop seeing dua as a last resort and start seeing it as a constant connection. Even a simple phrase like Wa Allah, forgive me and purify me, begins to carry more meaning when you understand that every difficulty may already be part of that purification process. And there is something deeply hopeful in knowing that nothing is random in the life of a believer. Every tear shed in sincerity is known. Every moment of patience is recorded. Every silent endurance is counted. Even when no one else sees your struggle, Allah sees not only the struggle itself, but the impact it is having on your soul. What feels like breaking may actually be rebuilding in ways you cannot measure yet. This understanding does not remove pain immediately, but it changes the relationship you have with it. Instead of seeing it as a blockage in your life, you start seeing it as a passage through which your heart is being cleansed. Even the moments that feel confusing begin to carry a hidden sense of purpose, as if something unseen is unfolding beneath the surface of your experience, shaping you slowly through what you are enduring right now. There is a moment in every believer's life when the heart whispers a difficult question. I have been making dua for so long, so why has nothing changed? It is a silent struggle that many people carry but rarely speak about. You raise your hands in the darkness of the night, you ask Allah with sincerity, you repeat your needs again and again. Yet what you see in front of you does not seem to shift. And slowly, without realizing it, Shaitan tries to plant a dangerous thought. That perhaps you are being ignored. Perhaps your voice is not reaching the heavens. Perhaps your delay means denial. But in the Quran and Sunnah, we are taught something far deeper than what our emotions can immediately understand. Allah's timing is never random, and His response to dua is never limited to what we can see in the moment. When Allah delays something, it is not because He has forgotten you, and it is never because your dua is gone unheard. It is because He is responding in the way that is most perfect for your life, even if you cannot yet recognize it. The Quran reminds us that sometimes we dislike something while it is actually care for us, and sometimes we love something while it is not good for us. This means your delay is not a rejection of your request, but a protection from something you do not yet understand. What you are asking for may be good, but the timing may not be right, or Allah may be preparing something greater than what you imagined. And this is where trust becomes the most powerful form of worship. Look at the story of the prophets, and you will see that delay was always part of their journey. Prophet Zakaria, Arabic teen, Arabic lam, Arabic leaf, Arabic leaf, Arabic leaf, Arabic leaf, Arabic leaf, Arabic meme, made dua for a child for many years, in old age, when it seemed physically impossible. Yet the delay did not mean denial, it meant that when the answer came, it would be a miracle that strengthened faith for generations after him. Prophet Yusuf, Arabic teen, Arabic lam, Arabic yet, Arabic alaf, Arabic lam, Arabic sin, Arabic lam, Arabic alaf, Arabic meme, spent years in hardship, away from his family, through trials that seemed endless. But every delay was leading him step by step toward a position of honor and purpose he could never have reached otherwise. The impact of misunderstanding delay in our daily life is heavy. It makes people lose hope too early. It makes them stop asking Allah. It makes their worship feel mechanical instead of alive. But when a person learns to see delay through the lens of wisdom, everything changes internally even before anything changes externally. The heart becomes calmer, not because the situation is solved, but because the connection with Allah becomes stronger than the fear of the unknown. So instead of treating delay as a wall, it becomes a space for growth. This is the time where consistency in dua matters more than intensity. Even if your voice feels weak, even if your words feel repeated, even if your emotions feel exhausted, you continue. Because every sincere dua is either being answered immediately, being stored for the future, or being transformed into something better than what you asked for. Nothing is ever lost in the presence of Allah. And when you begin to truly believe that Allah's timing is more perfect than your urgency, something inside you softens. You stop measuring your life by speed and start measuring it by wisdom. You realize that what you thought was silence was actually preparation. And what you thought was emptiness was actually divine arrangement unfolding quietly in your favor. Even when you could not feel it yet, there are moments in life when everything feels like it is pressing against you at once. When even simple responsibilities feel heavier than usual. And when you quietly wonder whether you are truly capable of handling what is in front of you. It is in these moments that the heart begins to feel small, uncertain, and overwhelmed. But what if this very feeling is not a sign of weakness, but a sign that Allah is expanding you for something greater than what you are currently living? In the wisdom of Allah, comfort alone does not create strength. Ease alone does not build resilience. Just like a diamond is formed under pressure and heat, a believer is shaped through moments that stretch them beyond their comfort zone. When life feels heavy, it is often because Allah is increasing your capacity not to harm you, but to prepare you for a role, a responsibility, or a blessing that requires a stronger version of you than you are today. Many people assume that if they are struggling, it means they are failing. But in reality, struggle is often the training ground for elevation. Think about the way Allah raises people in ranks. Before responsibility comes, there is preparation. Before leadership comes, there is patience. Before ease comes after difficulty, there is endurance that must be built within the heart. Without this process, even blessings can become overwhelming because the soul has not yet been strengthened to carry them. This is why your current pressure should not always be interpreted as punishment or blockage. Sometimes it is expansion. You are being stretched emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, so that you can hold something bigger without breaking. And although stretching feels uncomfortable, it is necessary for growth. If the heart was never stretched, it would never develop the capacity to hold deeper levels of faith, gratitude, and responsibility. In daily life, this understanding changes the way you respond to challenges. Instead of asking, why can't I handle this? You begin to ask, what is Allah preparing me for through this? That shift alone changes your relationship with difficulty. It transforms your mindset from resistance to reflection. You start to look for meaning instead of only looking for relief. You begin to realize that every task you once thought was too much for you is actually part of a gradual strengthening process. Even your acts of worship begin to feel different. Salah becomes a place where you are not just asking for relief, but asking for strength. Dua becomes less about escaping your situation and more about growing through it. You begin to understand that Allah is not only concerned with removing your hardship, but also with developing the kind of heart that can remain firm when hardship returns in different forms later in life. And there is a quiet mercy in this process, Allah does not suddenly place burdens on a soul without preparing it. Instead, He increases capacity step by step, moment by moment, through experiences that seem difficult at first but later reveal their purpose. What once felt unbearable becomes something you can reflect on with gratitude, because you realize it was the very thing that shaped your patience, your strength, and your reliance upon Him. So even when life feels too heavy, even when you feel like you are at your limit, there is a deeper truth beneath it all. You are not being pushed to break. You are being stretched to become. And the version of you that emerges from this season will not be the same as the one who entered it, because Allah never leaves a believer unchanged after sincere struggle. When a person is going through difficulty, the mind naturally becomes very focused on what is happening right now. The pain feels immediate, the struggle feels permanent, and the heart starts to believe that this phase will define everything forever. But in the sight of Allah, what you are going through right now is not your final destination. It is a passing moment in a much longer journey, and this dunya was never meant to be the place where everything is fully completed or fully understood. One of the greatest shifts a believer can make is learning to see beyond the limits of this world. This life, no matter how intense its joys or pains may feel, is temporary. Every situation here has an ending, every emotion here has an expiration, and every hardship here has a limit. But what comes after this life is eternal. That is where the true and lasting reward is kept, and that is where patience finds its complete meaning. The Prophet Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Alif Maksura, Arabic Alif Arabic Lam, Arabic Ada Arabic Ada, Arabic Ada Arabic Ada Arabic Ada Arabic Ada Arabic Ada, Arabic Mamin taught us that the reward for patience is without measure. This means that what you endure silently, what you carry with trust in Allah, and what you face, while holding on to your faith, is not being ignored or forgotten. It is being preserved in a way that cannot be fully compared to anything in this world. Sometimes a person loses something temporary here, but gains something everlasting there. And when the believer finally sees the outcome on the day of judgment, they will wish they had known earlier how valuable their patience truly was. The problem is that human beings naturally look for immediate results. When something hurts, we want it to stop quickly. When something is delayed, we want it resolved immediately. But Allah is teaching the believer to think beyond urgency and to think in terms of eternity. Because if a person only focuses on this world, even small problems feel enormous. But when the lens shifts toward the hereafter, even large problems begin to shrink in comparison to what is coming. This understanding slowly changes how a person reacts to life. The same hardship that once caused panic now becomes something that carries meaning. The heart begins to say, this is temporary, but my reward is permanent. A delay in this world no longer feels like loss, because the believer understands that Allah may be replacing it with something far greater in the Akhirah. Even unanswered questions begin to feel lighter, because certainty in Allah's justice replaces the need for immediate clarity. In daily life, this mindset brings a deep sense of stability. You are no longer shaken by every change in circumstances, because your foundation is no longer built only on what you can see. You begin to invest your emotional energy in what lasts, not just what fades. Acts of patience become acts of worship. Enduring quietly becomes a form of devotion. And trusting Allah in unseen matters becomes a source of inner peace rather than anxiety. Even your struggles begin to feel different. Instead of seeing them as interruptions in your life, you start seeing them as contributions to your eternal success. Every tear, every moment of restraint, every silent prayer becomes something that is not wasted but recorded. And when a believer truly internalizes this, they begin to realize that no pain lived for Allah is ever meaningless. So when life feels overwhelming, and when the present moment tries to convince you that this is all there is, remember that Allah is not limited to this moment. He is preparing something beyond it. What you are facing now is not the end of your story. It is only a chapter, and the real completion of your story is still ahead, where every patience will be rewarded in full, and every hardship will finally make sense in the light of eternity. There are moments in life when a person feels distant, not necessarily because they have moved away from Allah, but because their heart feels heavy, distracted, or emotionally overwhelmed. In those moments, Shaitan tries to whisper that you are far, that your connection is weak, that your worship is not enough, or that your past has created too much distance between you and your Lord. But the reality in the sight of Allah is far more merciful and far more intimate than these thoughts suggest. In truth, hardship itself often becomes one of the strongest pathways back to Allah. When life is easy, a person may feel self-sufficient, distracted, or unaware of their need for their Creator. But when difficulties arrive, the heart naturally begins to soften. It begins to turn, even if slowly, even if imperfectly, toward the one who controls all matters. This turning is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of life within the heart. A heart that still turns back to Allah, even after being weighed down by dunya, is a heart that is still connected. Many people assume that closeness to Allah is measured only by the quantity of Arabic tain, Arabic ba, Arabic talif, Arabic talif, Arabic talif, Arabic talif, Arabic talif, Arabic talif, Arabic talif. But closeness is also deeply connected to sincerity, return, and reliance. Sometimes a person who feels broken inside, who whispers a simple dua in the middle of their struggle, is closer in that moment than they have ever been before. Because in that moment there is no illusion of control, no pride, no distraction, only pure dependence upon Allah. And that dependence is beloved to Him. The problem is that when people feel distant, they often withdraw even more. They stop speaking to Allah because they feel unworthy. They reduce their dua because they feel their words are not meaningful. But this is exactly the opposite of what the heart needs in that moment. Distance is not healed by silence from the servant, it is healed by return. Even if the return is imperfect. Even a broken sentence whispered in sujood carries more weight in the sight of Allah than a silent heart that has given up calling upon Him. In daily life, this means that your hardest moments are actually your most powerful opportunities for reconnection. The nights when you cannot sleep, the moments when you feel overwhelmed, the times when you feel misunderstood or emotionally exhausted, these are not signs that you are far from Allah. They are invitations to come closer. They are reminders that no matter how chaotic life becomes, the door to Allah is never closed. When a believer understands this, their relationship with hardship changes completely. Instead of seeing pain as something that isolates them, they begin to see it as something that invites them. Instead of thinking, I am too far, they begin to think, this is my moment to return. Even guilt becomes a bridge rather than a barrier because it pushes the heart back towards seeking forgiveness rather than giving up. And there is a profound mercy hidden in this reality. Allah does not need perfection to accept you. He does not require a flawless heart to hear you. He responds to sincerity, even if it is expressed through exhaustion, confusion, or weakness. What matters is not the elegance of your words, but the truth of your turning toward Him. So when you feel distant, do not wait to feel ready before you return. Do not wait for your life